The fourth rock riff that we're going to deal with is a very well-known song called Iron Man. To play this song, you have to learn what's called power chords. Power chords are movable chord shapes, and they're always two fingers, your index finger and your ring finger on your left hand, and two strings, and each note is 2 frets apart. So you see that the first note is on the 7th fret on the 6th string, and that's the index finger, and then the third finger will be on the 9th fret on the 5th string. So to master these, you have to be able to move up and down the fretboard with your left hand while keeping that same shape. Power chords are popular in a lot of rock music, especially heavy metal and punk rock music. Okay, so the entire song or entire riff is made out of power chords, and next we have to look at the rhythm. So if we look at the first measure, it's a pretty straightforward rhythm. Features 2 quarter notes on beats 1 and 2, a pair of 8th notes on beat 3, and a quarter note on beat 4, which shouldn't be too hard for you to understand and maybe learn how to play. The problem is the next measure. Now we have to learn a new type of note, which is called a 16th note. So before we've seen 8th notes where there's a single beam or bar that hooks the notes together. 16th notes have 2 beams or bars that hook each note together. So on 1 quarter note has 4 16ths, or you can think of a 16th as half of an 8th note. And we have new syllables that we use to determine 16th notes. So with 8th notes we said 1 and 2 and 3 and so forth. With 16th notes, there's a note in between the beat and the end. So it's like 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and. So if we look at measure 2, only the first beat is 16th notes. Then we've got some 8th notes followed by a quarter note at the end. So to play measure 2, I recommend you practice it with a click that's a 16th note, like 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and you'll notice I snap my fingers when you would actually play each power chord as it moves. Okay, so we're going to talk about the song Iron Man and the technique of playing power chords. Power chords are important if you want to play a lot of rock and roll styles, heavy metal, punk music. And it's a pretty simple concept. A power chord is your index finger on one note, and then 2 frets higher on the next string is your third finger. And you only play those 2 strings. Now the challenge is being able to play these and move them. So you have to move your whole hand and keep your fingers kind of in position. The second challenge is in the right hand, just trying to strum 2 strings. However, you can kind of get away with strumming across more than 2 strings if you learn how to left hand mute. So we'll talk about that. So you notice I'm hitting a bunch of strings, but this string is muted. This string is muted, this string is muted, and this string is muted. Okay, so the trick to muting. If I'm playing a power chord where I'm playing the 6th string and the 5th string, like the beginning chord of Iron Man, I just simply use my index finger and touch all the other strings without pressing down. If I press down, I can hear them, but if I just touch them, I can't hear them, okay? When I'm playing a power chord with the root on the 5th string, it's a 5th and 4th string, I'm still doing the same thing with the index finger, but I'm also allowing the tip of my index finger to touch the 6th string. So you can see that helps mute it. So you can hear that sound, but when I strum the chord, it's louder than the muted strings and you don't hear them. Okay, so the next step to playing Iron Man, once you understand how to play a power chord and mute, you got to learn where all the notes are. And then you got to learn the rhythm, which is something we talked about last week. So the first measure is quarter notes and eighth notes. It's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? Actually, I played that wrong. 1, 2, 3, and 4. The problem is the second measure, we got a new type of note that I explained earlier in the video called 16th notes. We count 1 E and A. 1 E and A. So I'm going to count the whole song in 16th notes. So if you're practicing with a metronome and your fingers don't move that fast, you set one click as a 16th note. So for a quarter note, you're going to count 1 E and A, 2 E and A. Then for eighth notes, it would be like 3 E and A, 4 E and A, the last quarter note. Then the 16ths up here, 1 E and A, then 2 eighths, 2 E and A, 3 E and A, 4 E and A. So now I'll play the whole thing in time. 1 E and A, 2 E and A, 3 E and A, 4 E and A, 1 E and A, 2 E and A, 3 E and A, 4 E and A. Have fun and good luck, and I want to thank my dog for her assistance even though I didn't ask for it.